Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream of this game. We are in case 4 at long last, where crazy things are gonna happen, I feel. Uncool things that'll make everyone cry, and it's gonna be great. Can't believe we're on the 4th case already, but that 3rd case took forever. Sholmes is back in his normal outfit, by the way, so yay! And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. So what do we have already? We have a bunch of people, Iris, Gina, we have Evie here, who's 2 years older than me. This guy vanished, apparently. Okay, it's all very peculiar. What's our evidence? This photograph and a redhead headed league. Okay, sounds good. Let me dismiss this random message. Okay, indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Nooooo. Sorry? Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair. Whose fault is that? But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was quite different. That was quite a different matter. So I leave it in your capable hands. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. Of course you are. Well, can't talk to him anymore. I could have just talked to him for a couple more moments and then I just could have saved it like normal. Alright, to the office. Let's go! Outskirts of London. Its 4 high outer walls loom quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. The tower. This tower is insane. Look at that clock there. This place is full of hardened criminals. Can I remember that the last time a civilian was done here. And you deny want to talk to an inmate, but to me? Do you ken who I am? I'm the governor, Barry Caden. Barry Caden. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. And an Easterner, I see. Does that mean? Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes? Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh? I didn't notice another prisoner next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... Give me a second, lads. Laddies. I have no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out of my hair. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means... I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Asogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. Hey, Captain Chips. Are you alive today? Have you survived? And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? Your agents, eh? Part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. You're conscious, haven't eaten much, but you're here. Well, consider this a fasting. Fasting is a good thing sometimes, maybe. I don't know. But glad you're somewhat better-ish. Well enough to stay, at least. Get gone, before I punch your lights out. We're going. Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Kaden, what are you thinking, Miss Susato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some idea to help us. Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Yeah, I hate to say this. I said get out. Oh, I can't even examine things. I can't do nothing, can I? Yeah, I don't remember who mentioned his name. That was 2 whole days ago. Think I remember? Well, let's go everywhere. See if anyone, brings him up. Yo, big guy. Nope, not you. Let me grab the guide. Yeah, it might help. I see you back there. That's Professor Mikatoba over there. Ah, hello you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. But where's Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today? Goodness, he is full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before about how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison? Oh, Governor Kaden, you mean? So it is the same man. Yep, I made it. It's apparently, this guy we have to talk to. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee. No, I have a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know? Oh, sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikatobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or it could be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts. Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Heyo! Good luck then. We did it, guys! We got past the first puzzle. And now to the next puzzle. Not that puzzle. No. Present. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Kaden. What's this then? Can I pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student? Mikatoba? That young jock from the forensics laboratory, that Mikatoba? Yes, exactly. Him. Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yujin Mikatoba's daughter, Susato. Jings, you're the young man's daughter? And you didn't think to mention that before? I do apologize. Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did I forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits? Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do for you, Hen? Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor. I haven't heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. Oh, but how can that be? Well, thank you, Daysmith. Welcome to the stream. Trying to catch up with all your streams. Can you add me on Discord? If yes, can you add me on Discord? God Mythic. if you do !Discord, you can join my Discord. But how you doing? I hope you're doing good. What's up? Oh, Dudley. Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Yeah, if you or someone else in chat do !Discord, you can join the Discord thing. Do as soon as you can. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir? I, of course. So you mentioned that you're trying to catch up with my streams. Do you know me from do you know me from somewhere? Day Smith? Out of curiosity. This grandfather clock is fitted with a terrifying blade that keeps chopping down. It's modeled on the guillotine, a French execution device. You might have heard of it. And yes, afore you ask, it can chop. Heads off, you mean? Heavens, no, carrots and parsnips and so forth. Oh. If you place a large carrot on the bottom there to morn, by evening it'll have been cut clean in two. Well, the blade must have an almost indescribable edge on it then. Would that be dangerous, Captain Chips, having this in your clock? Yeah. Never would have expected to find a parrot in prison. Must be the governor's pet. Given where we are, it's hard not to see the poor creature as a prisoner. Let me out! Didn't kill me! Ah! Has the bird learned to mimic the plaintive cries of the inmates in his cells? Just a bit. Just a wee bit. Oh, no, he was one of 3 siblings, you see. And he still calls out the names of his 2 brothers like that all the time. Right. Let me out. Didn't kill me. I hear you, laddie. You want your dinner, eh? Didn't I do it? What a weirdo. Weird burb. You understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison? Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedication to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Is this guy, Canadian, do you think? In Britain? Sorry, didn't you say was? Aye, he doesn't work here no more. He left his job. Oh my. When was this exactly? There's a question. When it was about. It can I have been much less than 10 years ago now. What? 10 years ago? You stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye, as I mind it, do you ken? I haven't heard the fella's name in all that time. Aiming for Scottish? Gotcha. He's a Scottish man. That's a worry if he's gone missing, though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps Mr. Naruhodo that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that she no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Ah! Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. 10 years ago. So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of Chief Warden 10 years ago, you're telling us? What happened to make him leave the job? In actual fact, he did not leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. Sorry? A walk? Aye, that or word for it there. A walk to the gallows. An execution? It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see? Only, Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning. But what did he do? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. I can tell you it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. But why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't ken anything about that, I'm afraid. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal? And what would that be, Anne? That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it, by any chance, the professor's? My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm not at liberty to answer that. I see. Okay. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted. The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. Do you know, Ken? Yes, I can imagine. The advancements of medical science isn't always the particularly Your father worked in a laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of St. Signers. It's still in use today. St. Signers? That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there. Ikatoba and I used to ride in the carriage together and negotiate terms. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and gab on about dissection and all sorts. Oh, it takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cuff biscuits, of course. How charming. He was a good fella, your father. Reliable, and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose. Well, it's not my fault, it's his fault. Or whatever. Well... how can I tell you anything else? Thank you so much for your time, Governor. Oh, one more afore you're away, Hen. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison. What is it? That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course. Oh my, are you sure? Aye, it's no trouble at all. It's no the original mind. Okay. Thank you very much, Governor Caden. Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Abiding and abetting the escape from this prison of convict just prior to the execution. So he tried to free a prisoner? Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. From Prisoner Governor Barry Keaton. Indications that are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. Convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. Okay. Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed. Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being. Yes, I agree. Need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Yeah, your husband's been let go for 10 whole years. We're back! Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. Good night, Eminem. If that's you saying you're going to bed, then good night to ya. Yeah, you're going to Sleepyland. See you tomorrow or someday. Be awesome and thank you. Greetings, my dear fellows. Oh boy. You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application. It's summer, so you do other stuff. It's not summer yet. It's summer on June 20th, I think. But yes, I gotcha. Hee. Oh my! Pray tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information? Oh, yes, something very surprising, in fact. Though, it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that... Sholmes! Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important. Gina? What? I can't Adam and Eve it. Sniff, sniff. What? What happened? What's happened? Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. It's the boss. What do you mean, Inspector Gregson? The boss is... He's dead. Oh, no. You have this game, Minim, the great ace attorney. I wish you luck on it. What? They just found his body, shot with a pistol. What? But, Inspector Gregson? He was murdered? No, not Gregsy. Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Oh no, that is no good. Sniff, sniff. Thank you, your doodly-doo does. Cool. Well, sorry for the spoilers with what's gonna happen. Jeez, man. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was really shot? I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss he was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny. Oh, god damn it. Why did it not go down? Sorry. Alright, hang on. So who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who, what awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? Oh boy, am I gonna be even more stunned? It was the Reaper. Oh yeah. That's doubly not good. Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? That's right. The Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss. No, Lord Van Zeeks? I don't know of the best memory. Gotcha, Minim. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Baron Van Zeeks the police have arrested? I saw him with me own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him. So you mean there was actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently, and when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and the Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zeeks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. We're pulling the first game. Yep, it's Edgeworth the whole time. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is a most terrible news. I am dreadfully sorry. What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come in all. As soon as you can. You gotta help. It's a detective's lot to appear whenever some sinister plot is unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming, How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson! You like his blue hair? Me too. Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then. Dr. Gregson, dead. And Lord Van Zeeks arrested. Bruno, Susie! I'm calling you a handsome. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Miss Susato? Yes. We're just gonna leave poor Iris home alone now. Yes. Prison. 6. Well, he's in prison, so it's true. This is crazy. There he is, Lord Van Zeeks behind bars. So it's true. He really was arrested. He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zeeks. Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be, with the last person on Earth I'd like to see. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened, that Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But... Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. He's just vibing. He's vibing. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please. There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This. The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share some case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance. Oh, who might that be? Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Harebrain. Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. And I would like to read my correspondence in peace, so let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zeeks never minces his words, but they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zeeks? What happened? How much do you already know? We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Freshno Street, and that you were found there by the police when they arrived at the scene and immediately arrested. We were told that there was nobody else in the room, and that some witnesses heard the gunshot. How much time can you use on reading? What? How much time can you use on reading? Can you rephrase that sentence? That sentence doesn't make sense to me, actually. Sorry. Then you're well informed, and there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Unconscious, starting to get hungry, don't trust your stomach yet. Yeah, I wouldn't trust your stomach either. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers, so he doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in the place to begin with? I don't need to answer that. It would help! How many hours do you usually read a day? 3 hours, I want to say? From the start of the stream to the end of the stream. That's pretty much the best I can do for reading before my voice box and breath, like, oh. But yep, I'll say that's how long. After all, you're not representing me. He is going to need a lawyer, though. Guess what? We are gonna be your lawyers! Who is going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zeeks? Anyone other than you, I should imagine. Give me a minute. Would I be right in assuming that you haven't no representation as yet? Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. But this is different. In my career, of all the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Question will be asked now. Surely not! I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole. But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that. What does he mean by that? The letter. After the trial, Professor Harebrained was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper. Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean? Yes, so it seems. You stooped little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo. So Professor Harebrained is safely back in Germany now. He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There was a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. I was wondering, Lord Van Zeeks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. You trust me, do you? Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people, so I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feeling can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. If I'm playing this game yourself, you think you read for 20 minutes and then take a big break? Oh dear. If it's in my head, I could read for hours and hours. But out loud, that's a different story. It's a very gracious offer, however. I trust no one. What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese. But please. I have no intention of engaging your services. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. Wow. Oh, I can't believe that the detective's gone. Yeah, that would help him. That would be very good. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this dust-ridden rented old room is where it happened then. So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life? Yes, and the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere. Oi, what do you think you're doing here? Every one of them drawings has got to be taken out, right out, so you can look underneath and all. I want the space above the ceiling checked, and then don't forget to look inside the chimney stack, too. Blimey, ain't you lot never gone over a house looking for dough where the owners are out of town? Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt. Oh, so you've turned up at last, mind you, I ain't been here long myself. Hello again, Gina. Sholmes is the only one. Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking that ad of his that just scarpered. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me. Gina, would you mind if we investigated too? Listen, Odo, you're a lawyer, right? Yes, why? Well, you're not thinking of trying to help the Reaper bloke, are you? Oh, poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever. Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. My name go to bed, you. If you are sleepy, you should. Would be a good idea. Suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Odo, get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here. Thank you, Gina. I guess Gina's the new detective now, huh? Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place? That's what I want to know. It's half a year since I got out of the clink. That's when I decided to give up on me diving because become a detective instead. Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he? Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he is a bit of a legend at the yard. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case just like that. He did? Yep, and ever since then, he started going on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? Hey, stars over Hyrule! How you doing? What's up? Hope you're doing good. I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all, and look where that landed him. Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I heard them say as much. I take my hat off to that fella, were his words. Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. I'm doing good, thanks. I learned a big truth of this game, though. A big, thing happened in this game, though. If you've been following along, Stars, do you know who Gregson is? The detective person that eats the chips? The big fries? I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite a high regard. He said something else to me and all, that I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, cause he only goes after people who are bad. Objection, it's Ace Attorney time! It sure is. A little bit. The inspector, the fish and chips eating guy. Yeah, he's dead. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Yeah, it's not good. The person that killed him was apparently, quote-unquote, the prosecutor as well. So, yeah, shiz is going on. Apparently it's being rented by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone? It's sort of here today, gone tomorrow named that, isn't it? Yeah, he is what some call an unidentified person. You haven't been able to get in touch with him. I see. Well, judging from appearances, I have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. Right? All the lads in the yard piling down to get stuck into the investigation, but there's so little here. No one knew what to do with themselves. I do wonder. Yes, Miss Susato? Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of a secret office of his. I'd never even considered that. Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves. You are? If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hint at it. We should really investigate this place in detail. So maybe he's alive then? I see that's where the poor inspector was found. Over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall. Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles apart completely. And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's in it, no denying that. What? Really? How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big wide eyes. I'm only saying what I heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some bigwigs lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him? A bigwigs lawman, is it? Anyway, fresh snow street runs along under the window there. There were some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside. Yeah, they've all been taken down the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling. Do you think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves? I doubt it. The lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for, and you'll be up for a grilling and all. So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Alright. Let's get examining. This looks like some sort of notice board or something, and it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, look! This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? And these are case notes here, and the details of prison inmates. Yes, in fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room? Some old newspaper cuttings. Ah, and this one here. Oh yes, the advertisement, you mean? To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here? Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. I guess. What's this? Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. Ah! What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. They are! Look! Mr. Naruhodo, quickly! Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Isn't that Evie? Of course she's familiar. We only met her this morning. Ah! It's Miss Vigil! Mrs. Vigil! This makes no sense. How would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either. Strange. What does this mean, guys? What does this done mean? An empty fireplace makes the room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it? It's thick with dust, look! I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time. In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold winter, or nobody lived here at all and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely. No, that's right. It's one or the other. There's more pictures up here. Excuse me. Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. Poor man. He can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. Yeah, he ain't happy. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Right. Perhaps I'd better leave you to your work then. All the coppers are sad. Excuse me. If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. Here's the windows. Somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least still let in some light, but you could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. Candle. The top of one of the candles in the candle holder has been completely blown off. Yes, there's wax splattered on the wall below. Look. Suppose if a bullet had hit it. It does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body. Now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. Check the evidence, check the evidence. Ah, there's some black marks here. Look. Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks. Perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems. Yes, I think you might be right. Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them. Okay. Not seeing anything else. Alright. Nothing on the wall. I see red hair. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh, funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! It is! A bright red hairpiece! I suppose the fact that it's right there, next to where the body was found, means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And in such a flame or colored red, too. Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly! This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it. Huh. I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like. Doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you? I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head, so it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean. That might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think? Is that it? So I suppose this is where the victim... That's right, the rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself had already been taken away, and would probably be under Dr. Sith's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week. On the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost. I know it's just a rope, but, well, it conjures up a terrifying image. That's all. Especially with that bloodstain next to it. Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality. Susato-sen is so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Oh, what's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. Seeing as it's on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zeek's playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. It could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful, after all, in a way. Better examine it. The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled, almost as if somebody had enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Should we try twisting it around and around too, for fun? Ah, what's that? It appears to be some sort of key. But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door. Not at that size. What is it for, I wonder? Oh my gosh. There's a key? This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. Very tiny and simple key. What's the little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? What's it for? Very strange. Good thing I examined it, huh? This is presumably the murder weapon, then. Oh my! It is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan. I really know very little about them. There's one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot. No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. Okay. Hey, Gina. Here's a gun for you. Gina, what do you make of this? What is that? Evidence? Work something out on about what happened, have you? Oh, no, not exactly. Ain't been long enough in the job to get all this deduction business yet, but I swear I'm gonna get to the prison what this did to the boss. I might need your help again, Captain Chips, with what I need to do. Because I'm pretty sure I've examined everything in this place. I've examined everything, but the next cutscenes are not happening. Maybe it's gun to Van Zeek's or something? Are you still here, Captain? Oh, you got the pick, the candles, the rope, the gun, and the figure. The picture, the candles, the rope? I have not seen a rope. Where have you seen a rope? Where do you see a rope? I have not seen a rope yet. Not that rope. Yeah, where's the rope at? I haven't gotten anything that even resembles a rope. I got the frame photograph, the candelabrum, the red hairpiece, the policeman thingy, and the revolver. It's not evidence. Huh? Full sentences, Captain Chips. What are you talking about? Lord Chief Justice's office. Alrighty. Sounds good. Wrong place. Thank you for letting me know. You've made a good time. I took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart, can you? Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone. Oh, it's Kazuma. Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. It's Kazuma-sama. Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is? No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. The Lord Van Zeeks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson. I believe only in the facts, and the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zeeks for his crime must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective. Oh no, surely not. It is a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow the Forensics Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, this is the fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma. Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? I'd say Mr. Asogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings, leading the prosecution. Oh, snap. He's the murderer. If we're going by, Ace Attorney number 1, case 4 rules. Welp. Darn, guys. Wait, what? Kazuma? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law. Kazuma-sama, a prosecutor? Well, I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in the trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey, and now the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. But Lord Van Zeeks firmly denies any involvement in such matters. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. Proven to be innocent. That's certainly true, or it has been, at least until now. Ah! No. Tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. So Kazuma will be prosecuting tomorrow? That's right. But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it would mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I've no doubt at all that Kazuma will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain. It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented, quite exceptional in fact. You are quite right, Miss Mikotoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. Ah! After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as a judiciary closed ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution? Ryunosuke, let me see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months. Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. And I don't think I've checked it yet. I suppose this must have been the murder weapon. Oh my! Is it real, I suppose? I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. Perhaps someone more familiar with firearms could shed light on things here. Like Strongheart is, right this second. Do you know if it belonged to Lord Van Zeek's? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know. That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct. It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes, which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine. In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim. No, Gregson had his gun on his person. What about Lord Van Zeek's? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious. But he just said the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's. Is no proof that it's actually his. No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zeek's. Yeah, a little bit. Whoops. Present. Could I show you this, Lord Strongheart? I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence. Oh. Especially when the evidence in question is so dull. Oh, so that's the real reason. Alright. Let me, converse with him. I'm sorry for all the work I've caused you, but it'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything, including what I was coming here to do. Right. Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia? It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London, that's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London. I'm so sorry for what happened. Anyway, my memory might have returned to me, but there's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. It doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. Oh, what is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you. Kazuma-sama, what? You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection. You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own due justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you. Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here. Oh? I actually have a favor to ask. What is it? Which is? This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as the defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord Van Zeeks would never put his faith in my hands. I've been hearing the same thing over and over in my head. Get pizza, all the pizza. I wish I could hear that in my head. Then I would get all the pizza stars. He does? It's not easy to see behind this facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. Oh, that's Lord Van Zeeks and Inspector Gregson. In a photograph that must have taken some time ago by the look of it. Old photograph. Who's the third person? Older bro? It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes, what I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you must find that you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. What are you doing, Kazuma? Are you eating pizza right now, Stars? I could use some pizza. You know what? Wrong place. Lord Van Zeeks is still reading that letter. He's been gone quite some time, though. Either way, he's an incredible slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might have even been able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to with such an insulting Nipponese. Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time. Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow. Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you. In other words, no. No. We were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor, for your trial has been decided. I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is. It's going to be Kazuma Asogi. Asogi? That makes the color drain from his face? Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all. Yep. 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi. Genshin Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father. So what cruel fate is this now, maybe 10 years later? This man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court? I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you. It's what he does. No doubt he would know of the young man's true identity from the outset. But what could have happened? What could he have been hoping to achieve? And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. How would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that? Asogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. Let me get a drink real quick, guys. The bane that is, that or whatever. Right, your hatred of all us Japanese. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer, the so-called professor. Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard, and that was Genshin Asogi? Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong. Oh, how awful. To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asogi's trial. I wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented. What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor? The man in charge of the professor's case inquiry, Lord Male Strongheart. Wait, what? He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the court trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that name, he's the only person to whom I felt indebted. I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor. Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should have arrived in London but you? Ah! And, of all things, as a lawyer. I feel your animosity toward the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. You're obviously deep loathing of us Japanese. I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred was festered inside me. I can no longer contain it. And I can understand why, now that I know the history. But in the same way that I long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Kazuma Asogi I am the bane of his, this reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it to court tomorrow. Okay. Gregson's transfer to the Paris police prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month, but he'll never make it to France now. Just a tragedy. Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean? It's the first time I've ever encountered it. Oh, the Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked for to pull that arrangement in place. It sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was only considered something of a legend of Scotland Yard. Again, it was 10 years ago that he made that name for himself, by uncovering a decisive path of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's similar approach to this case, discovery would never have been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy. Oh my, 10 years ago? Why is that so surprising? Autopsy was considered the desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. And my brother was, of course, a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigation made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction that somehow inflicted the House of Lords was a result that can avenge my mother's death. So, you must have had a great confidence in your impactor's ability then. And it's even more inconceivable than that you would have taken his life. I don't have confidence in anyone. Oh! And I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. I'm no doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of the lords. What I really want is between Lord Van Zeeks and Gregson, I wonder. What was the issue of their relationship? Your gun. Your love affair. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene. Ah, yes, that's not mine. Really? Because some common core opinion seems to be like it is. What do you think I'd expect me to say? Lord Strongheart informs us that you now claim to have misplaced your forum. As embarrassed as that is, I'm afraid it's true. What do you do? What did you lose it then? That I don't know. Oh! I was issued a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I am much more saved as it happened. Or I must have slowed it in, somewhere. Hustle League, or left eye... Ah! You have something in common with Lord Van Zeeks, after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things. No, this has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it. Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese. Oh dear, the rift is very wide, isn't it? So it's not decisive evidence clearly, but it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Now what? Lord Van Zeeks, we came by this old photograph. Where did you get that? Whew. It was taken because when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Who was the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. That's who it is. It's Clint. Okay. It has to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for her. He had a deep respect for you, you know? Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense. Nowhere heard something at least very funny, clearly. Inspector Gym Leader Lestrade, no less. Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time when things were like this. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and others in such lofty poetry. Oh, Clint, how could I not know that? What? No, what stars? That was a nice glimpse of the past, I thank you. I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle, an insight into the true nature of this man knows to all as the Stone Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, that's the first time he's ever used my actual name. I've lost all my confidence in my country's power system. I don't trust the pattern, the judiciary, or lawyers. But, that Clint was the other person in the picture? Alright, gotcha. Clint, yep, it's Clint. But there's still one more thing I'm willing to believe in. What's that? That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A single determination to know the truth. Lord Van Zeeks. From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey, almost a year ago now, I cannot deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here is the loathsome Nipponese, who is absolutely integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Asogi. The man he idolizes and the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me. You mean this photograph? Back then I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I looked to the future with hope. Since then, I've protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But all times, the mire into which I've sunk to make it almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo. Then my life is in your hands. For Lord Van Zeeks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Kazuma. I never thought I would be facing Kazuma in court. 'Cause, you know, he was kind of dead. But now that he's alive again... Hey, Astro Dude! This is Turnabout Goodbyes 2.0. I know it is. Here's the thing though, Astro Dude. I'm really hoping that Kazuma's not the big bad killer in this one. Don't tell me if he is or is not, of course, but I don't want him to be. Defendant's antechamber. The second. 10 more days until my birthday, guys! Woo! Not really. Just in the game, of course. But yeah, how have you been today, Astro Dude? How's life treating you so far? There's that old familiar feeling again. The crushing pressure of this historic courthouse. Just a question of if he isn't or who is. Woo! I almost forgot to tell you, by the way, guys. I made a little attempt in my Pokemon anime marathon, or not attempt, a milestone. I just passed episode number 1000. Woo! There's my announcement. God bless. Actually, no, it's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There is a menacing tension in the air here today, isn't there? I suppose? Yes, I think so. 1000 episodes. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot of flippin' episodes. It can only be the result of the menacing appearance of the defendant. A little more courtesy, if you please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken that this trial is far from ordinary. What do you mean? I'm not privy to the details, however. I understand that no jury has been selected. A trial without a jury? Aw, really? Anyone who complains about One Piece links is therefore a wimp. Yep. A trial without a jury? Well, that's just like the scene of the professor 10 years ago. A closed court. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes. Have you made note of my hair, Mr. Naruhodo? An outright victory for science, you must agree. It looks white. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I completely forgot about your little hair problem. What to one man is a little hair problem, is to another a day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. You have no idea how my stomach ails me this morning. Oh dear, how awful for you. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm delighted to see you looking so full of vim. And I see London's celebrated great detective is as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow. Compared to my paltry engagement with a few trivial cases, the Reaper's overbearing presence is a far greater deterrent to the black roots of the crime in our capital. and whilst I may not agree with your methods, there is at least one point on which I would readily commend you. What an honor. And that would be your eye for a good lawyer, sir. Mr. Sholmes. After all, behind this lawyer there is a very great mind, my own. What are you trying to say? I wish only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. Sorry to barge in. Gina! What's that on her arm? It's a mourning band, I suppose. Father, shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed, so I have some free time. I decided to come along with the police inspector to see our country's up-and-coming student in action. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. Odo? Oh, yes, Gina. Why'd you agree to this, eh? Why'd you take him on? This Reaper bloke. Everyone says it was him. It was him what killed the boss. I'm sorry, Gina, but I just don't believe that. Well, if it weren't him, who was it? I don't know that yet. I don't care who calls him what. The Reaper's just a name. He's just a person at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him what killed the boss, then God help him. Fiery eyes indeed. Yes, the culprit deserves every ounce of your loathing. Eh? At least that may be some solace to the deceased. But please, Odo, get whoever did this for the boss. Oh, Gina. I ain't feeling this useless, but there's nothing I can do. So you've gotta find who done this and make the wretch pay. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. The court will be in session shortly. Make your way to the courtroom at once, please. All right, then. Here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Lord Van Zeeks. Here we go. One who lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. One who lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And one who lost the man who helped her escape destitution. All that misfortune, all that pain, on course to collide headlong in this trial, send a shine a light on all these dark events. And whatever truth is revealed, we're going to have to look it straight in the eye. Speaking of One Piece Captain ships, the next collection date has been finally announced. The next collection is coming out in August. Well, no one's here. At least it's coming out. At least we have the date, and it's not unknown, you know. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here to conduct the fair and just trial of the defendant Barak von Zeeks. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin? The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh, Kazuma-sama. I've been wishing to see you in court again for so long, it feels. But I never pictured it happening like this. Never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecution's bench. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey has been a scourge like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Today we must uncover the truth behind this scourge. In other words, this trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Gregson's murder. The truths revealed by these proceedings may have unpredictable repercussions to the judiciary. Accordingly, they are to be conducted as a closed trial, with no members of the public present. by Your Majesty's direct orders. What about the people in the back, though? Do you see? How will that work, my lord? The burden of all arbitration and adjudication falls on my shoulders. Therefore, as you will see, the jurors' bench shall remain vacant today. If no members of the public are present, might I ask who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord? They are members of the judiciary, here to witness proceedings and ensure an equitable trial. Members of the judiciary. Oh my! This is a very unusual trial already. There is, of course, another unprecedented aspect to these proceedings on which I must elaborate. The counsels for the prosecution and defense are both aliens of Great Britain. I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes, and as I stand here in the courtroom now, I'm quite certain this is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Kazuma? Very well, let us commence proceedings. Prosecutor Asogi, your opening statement, if you please. Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on 1st November, just after 5 o'clock in the morning. The location was a building, a flat on Fresno Street, on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered there in an old single-room rental property. Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson, a man known very well indeed to this court. Not least for his miraculous resolution of one of this country's grimmest cases 10 years ago. The Professor case. How sure are you about the time of the incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all have reported the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. I have here a plan of the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly. How has the range been determined? There were scorch marks around the entry wound. Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But powder hot enough to leave scorch marks is only ejected a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happens when the target is at point-blank range. I see, yes. Thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim. But first... Nope, wrong picture. Tobias, age 45, British, time of death. Victim was shot in the chest at close range from the front, resulting in instant death. Scorch marks at point of entry. Bullet exited the body from behind. Caliber of the gun matches that of the standard issue firearms for members of the judiciary. Time of death. How come it doesn't say anything? Weird. And have you managed to ascertain the owner of this firearm? No, my lord. Not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma-sama, for not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven. Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There was a candelabrum mounted on the wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by this projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? Yes, that's right. Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. The setting of the crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please. As you wish, my lord. Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gregson's private abode? No, my lord. The room is rented to Mr. Hugh Boone, but there is precious little furniture inside, and it is generally in a poor state of repair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or another. When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, he found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside, holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot. So, the details of the case are clear. In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. A name, please, counsel. Naturally, the accused himself. Lord Van Zeeks? As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of office he's taken and will be compelled to tell the truth. Very well. Let the defendant take the witness stand. Oh boy. So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Barak Van Zeeks, Old Bailey prosecutor. I presume, Lord Van Zeeks, that you heard Prosecutor Asogi's opening precis? I did. It is alleged that you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this? Yes, my lord. Then I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Namely, why you were there in the room on Fresno Street at the time in question, and what exactly took place. I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth. I must say, Lord Van Zeeks, never imagined this day would come. Or rather, I did want to imagine it would come, but since you became known as the Reaper, a part of me has been dreading it. Your formal testimony then, witness. Well, here we go. I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries had led me to that address. When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. What? That testimony was the whole truth? It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants, and moments later a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes, is that it? You're right, you haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. I thought you were my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words, Prosecutor Asogi. It would appear to be a singular tale indeed. Singular isn't the word, it's laughable. What's got into Kazuma? He's not behaving like himself at all. Very well then. Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. I was investigating Gregson and my inquiries had led me to that address. Hold it! You were investigating the inspector. What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry? I identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in the case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed. Is the court to understand, then, that on the day in question you followed the victim to the scene? No, I was privy to his movements in advance. How? I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary. The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry. You're illegal entering the man's office. You illegally entered the man's office. In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense. As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zeeks? I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim, and yet you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom to choose what to divulge under oath. Why did I ever think I could defend this man? When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. Hold it! Have you ever been to the address before? No, never. I only learned of this place as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light inside when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything. But at 5 p.m. the sun would only just have gone down. it would still have been reasonably light outside. The room had a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though, so I couldn't say for certain. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. There was a small desk in the room just there. Yes, I remember, and it was an oil lamp on it, as well as a framed photograph. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and stood toward the desk to investigate. And what did you find? Nothing. I never actually reached the desk. A moment later, I heard a gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Hold it! So, who fired the gun? I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room. But you say it was very dark in there. Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is I didn't sense another presence. Ah, then could it be? Then the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room? No, that's out of the question. Oh. Without doubt, the sound emanating from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder. Ugh, this is going from bad to worse. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct, and I foolishly picked it up. That was careless on my part. Presumably, then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took in your hands. In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not. What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. But then, where on earth is the gun that was fired? Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer, I'm afraid I can't. I too would dearly like to know that. Ugh. You never actually reached the desk. I stepped into the portal into another realm. It's amazing how he did that, stars. That's when he became Dracula for real. That was the other realm. Just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. Whoops. Jumping the gun here. Hold it! Yes! A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume? That's right. One of the street merchants working on Fresno Street. Who are these merchants? A number of them set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. Yeah. They've all given statements to saying they heard the gunshot, and without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened. Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? They burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did, and almost gave me a heart attack in the process. But you're supposed to be the Reaper. The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction. Van Zieks is actually Count Dracula. It is true, and he has to be, with that glass of his. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. Hold it! What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly, there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more. I see. After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find that it was a Gregson. Most curious circumstances indeed. How the inspector was killed, or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere. I have no idea. Objection! Oh. Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused Barak von Zieks is lying on multiple fronts. What? What is that supposed to mean? Good gracious, counsel! The defendant is lying, you say? In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. It's proven by this candelabrum. How does that prove anything? If you examine the tip of the long candle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact. One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle. The problem comes when you consider the two candles, which are clearly of a different length. Yes, I can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long. You could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ah! It was all the fatty fish and chips. Are those the real murderers? Murderers? That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other two candles would still have been burning. So the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. And the accused claim that he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now, to the next lie. There's more? The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. That's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right. We saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they included a number of reports from various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. And there is a common thread linking all of the documents on that board. Indeed? What is the connection thread, counsel? They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Barak von Zieks. All of them? And furthermore, all those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted. Good lord! Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Ah! Oh no! In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout, and his base of operations. The Reaper's hideout? And yet the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. No, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards. Backwards? Explain, counsel. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. What? What? Order, order, order! Very well. I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Barak von Zieks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with the prosecutor, Asogi's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts. All I have done is state the truth as I know it. Qasim has done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case. And it's formidable. Counsel, you will submit the board that you just showed the court as evidence. Believe it to be fundamentally and establish the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence. Thank you, my lord. And now, the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. But first, there are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there? Paper from 10 years ago is browning with age. Look, what of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked out. And do you remember? There was a red hairpiece at the scene too. Was Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League then? Oh. Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruhodo, look! Oh yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint. And the color, that's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing. Welp! That's trouble. Anything else? Blood on the underside? Or on the top? Nope, okay. New witnesses. Witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question. They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot and went running into the room. Very well, lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down from the witness stand. Certainly, my lord. Well, what are we dealing with, guys? Oh, brother. Well, I recognize one of them. So, witnesses, state your names and occupants for the court. Names? We don't use names. Far too fancy for the likes of us. We're just free and easy, sell what we like, live where we want to live. I could give them all a vacant stare as they will walk down Fresno and spin a few words into a verse for them. Ah, would I be right in assuming that all three of you make your living by selling wares on the street? What in the hell are those lips? Oh yeah, those are the freakiest lips ever. Heh, call me gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits to passerbys, you know? Jaunty little tidbits? Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up in your ginnel it is. Look at that lip. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is a massive deformity if I've ever seen one. 6 is the price and not a penny less. Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now? Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Try the man. Give him the money and see what it is. Pay the man, counsel. All right. 6 it is. You won't regret it, sir. Now get your listening ears on. Just between us, a young couple's on Slate Street have just had twins. Is that it? No, that's not it. It's gossip, ain't it? I wants to spread, but that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course. I've got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 a piece it is, if you're curious. I am curious, yes, about what's going on just under that fat bottom lip of yours. I'm glad he recognized it. Namely that unusual bruise or whatever it is that's poking out from under your collar. What about the next witness, then? What name do you go by, and what do you sell? Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, innit? I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids. That can't be good. 6 a pop. What do you say? Okay, that could have been more dangerous than I thought, but I think that's not good. Clearly it's something around his neck there. Yes, see, it's something. You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell? Oh yeah, the second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100, could blow up the school. Not the most savory of ideas, young lady. What do you say then, eh? Wanna part with 6 for a pop? Wait, what? You want me to buy one? Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you could blow up the whole courtroom. Try the woman. Give her the money and see if she's right. Pay the woman, counsel. All right, I'll buy one. Lovely stuff. Right then, this is something a bit extra just for you. The Venus Special, only 600. 600? It's 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there? And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey, either. Low gunpowder. Okay, what sort of bane can it make? And the last witness. What name do you go by, and what do you sell? I'm a thinker, me. Think all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand here on the street, watching the world go on about me. They call me the Observer. Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you Sandwich, and you know it. So, you don't actually sell anything. A problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. I give advice, I do, and think what it means. I don't actually sell anything, no. Come to think of it. Pity. No more purchases today, please. Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems. They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning until night, my lord, and always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene. I see, and thus they heard the gunshot, I suppose. Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witness the crime. Well, I be beggared, I thought, just between us. Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw. Well, what I think is if all what we see is light and shadow, playing with our eyes, is any of it real? Very well. The court will hear the formal testimony of these three witnesses now. You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident. Oh boy. Here we go. With more weirdos. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. Seems to me that quick to talk and quick to walk's gossip couldn't wait to go see what had happened. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, sending over the dead body. I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper. If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barak von Zeeks. I've seen pictures of that Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folks love stories like this. I've made myself a tidy sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied. Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot. The room in which the inspector was found in is the only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hughbone. The testimony the court has just heard would appear to leave little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime. No. Thank you for your candor, my lord. Court, for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. In a close court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony, somehow. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. Hold it! When you say they, who do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zeeks? I suppose so. The likes of us don't know the names of the high and mighty. But I'll tell you one thing. It was the old Reaper that went in last, that's for sure and certain. Just be kind, Inspector Gregson. Did they arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fella must have gone inside a good 15 minutes before we heard that gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before? Are you sure about that? Am I sure? Does it seem likely that I'd forgotten a fella with bright red hair like that, does it? Yeah, his hair really were red, weren't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks, even. That fiery red mop still burnt on the inside of my eyelids, it is. Wait a minute, you're saying the man was a redhead? Weren't you listening, chum? He was a redhead, and he had a big trunk with him as well. But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red, not by any stretch of the imagination. It seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct. What? Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. Oh, there he is. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, all right. And a red hairpiece. Ah! Of course. We saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we? I still refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. So then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that? The color does seem to suit the man, one might say. The photograph will be submitted as evidence. Please, counsel. And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene, so it just disappeared. What, do you expect us to have been watching the building every second, do ya? We definitely saw him in the dock going in, though. No question about that. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. Hold it! By which presumably you mean the gunshot. I sell these little things, don't I? How would I know what a gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it possibly sounds a bit like this, doesn't it? And you say that you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant here enter the building. That's right, it was almost straight away. Bang, it went just like that. Well, here's a Reaper. He's the Reaper, isn't he? It's what the French call a fait accompli. When the Reaper's around, people are going in the ground. I mean, that's what he does, isn't it? I think we got the message. The Reaper cannot allow the Inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There can be no clear motive for the crime. Yes. It's certainly an eminently credible motive. Great. And at the point, you ran inside, is that correct? Seems to me that quick to talk, quick to walk, gossip, okay, we'll see what happened. Hold it! So, when Gossip ran to see what had happened, did you go too? Well, me, I'm a bit hampered, see. All the signs are that I can't move very well. You were way behind, presumably, with that sandwich board around your neck and that big piscina in your hand. What a great burden you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but is it possible you and I have met before? I'm not anybody, me. The signs are what make me who I am now. I signed, therefore I am. So, you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago then? I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I agree. He's clearly been through a lot. Turn down King Henry Street and the Black Widower's Arms is just there. Oh dear, you've made him hide behind a sign. Life is full of surprises. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body. Hold it! So then, you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right? That I was, kicked the door open like the professional I did, and yelled out, What's going on off here? Lord Van Zeeks claimed all he heard was a man scream, though. And was it dark inside the room? No, not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall. Really? And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, it's the first thing I noticed when I got inside. Ah, I see. Even though Lord Van Zeeks claims not to have seen any such lights on the wall. Next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body. The accused Barak Van Zeeks. That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it, but I'm no lily-livered coward. I stood my ground and gave the Reaper a cold, hard stare myself. Really? Excuse me! Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? There's really nothing to me. Empty in the head I am, just 2 slices with no middle. So I don't know what you could want with me. I think that maybe you just remembered something. Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean. What I think is, we're all nothings really. We try to dress ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers. That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make you into a real sandwich. When he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over on his backside. That's it. Oh, you rotten beggar. I told you to keep that a secret. He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off on all 4s. That's all I wanted to say. Mr. Gossip, is that true? The floor was dead slippery, that's why. Planted my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck. Can you stop doing that with his lip, by the way? It's freaking me out. What? A pool of blood? But listen here. Even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving the Reaper a cold, hard stare, and don't you forget it. Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand? I did. Happens to the best of us at times, doesn't it? So I was scared, so I slipped over. We can keep that between us, can't we? No, Mr. Gossip. I'm going to have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony. Oh, if I must. The witness will amend his testimony and to include the aforementioned detail at once. I stepped over and got blood on my hand, so I quickly wiped it off on the floor. We did not see a handprint on the floor, right? But we did see a handprint on the thingy here.
Objection!
So you wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that? Well, what else do you expect me to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the defense... If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint and blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board. Yes, indeed. Indisputably, the handprint and the distinctive color of blood. You're dead right. That's my right hand. I know it anywhere.
Objection!
The witness very definitely testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprint on the back of the board are irrelevant. Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim, in an upright position, even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time. It would have been a considerable distance from the body. I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room. In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is. There's very definite contradictions here, for which there must be a reason. I take it that you formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel? Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene. I have, my lord. This discrepancy between the witness's account and the location of the handprint is explained by... Another handprint, the board moving, false testimony. This maybe? I don't know. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down. Good gracious, so it is! If the witness had put his hand against the board, the fingers should be pointing upwards. What? What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested, which means that after the incident, it must have been moved. What? Hot actual hero. Is that what that sign says? You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting? Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet, but the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point. And that would be the position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord. So, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you maintain the notice board was situated? I need help with this one, guys. Was the board on the left side of the room or the right side of the room? At least. Because I have no idea. Right of the door. Right of the door. Does that mean here? Right here, Captain Chips? Tell me if I'm like right on top of it. Give or take. Give or take what? Do I move it left a bit, right a bit, up a bit, down a bit? A little up. So like right here. Is this good? Let your poor heart break a bit. What? What are you saying?
Take that!
This is the only possible location. Immediately adjacent to the doorway? Well, we got it. If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark. He couldn't see the body. If the notice board has been here, the body would have been completely hidden from view. Oh, song lyrics? Oh, gotcha. I see. And the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection!
Hey, Pixel Remy! How you doing today? Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing good. And you're first, Pixel Remy. You're the first one here. Congrats! How did you even do it? Sorry about the delay. I had to cross-reference 3 different photos for some reason. Oh no. Are you using Neo, whatever the flip it's called? You first feels like a lie. Nonsense. Starts as being silly. I'm glad you're being silly. But the accused also claims that the victim's body simply appeared before him. That's true. Or, in his precise words, just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. You did not believe what my eyes were telling me? You're hungry? Oh no. The hunger is setting in. Hope the stomach food poison gets out the system. I don't know about calling it a scream, but he was talking about me and no mistake. Cause it was me that kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan, considering what would happen if the door to the room was thrown open with force, that can't. The door struck the notice board, knocking it over, and making the victim's body visible. Good gracious! My client had told nothing but the truth. He had simply described what he saw. Arg. Yeah, what have you been up to today, Pixel Remy? Anything cool or awesome or cool? Order! Counsel, how has this not come to light before now? After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it. into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room. Witness, what have you to say for yourself? What? Me, my lord? You and your fellows were there at the scene before anybody else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board. The witnesses in the stand will testify again. You will each explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime. Stop looking over your glasses at me. I get the message. Well, one guy's, under a lot of heat. I don't know anything about that there notice board. Just wipe my hands on it, that's all. Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with some second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of life. It was that Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams bored. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot. So none of you can elaborate further. Shaken by the crime they witness, and with the only lights of the few candles and an oil lamp by which to see, we can't expect those witnesses to be able to give a more precise account of what happened. That's right. Yeah, it don't pay to expect too much. It's man's endless quest for knowledge that's destroying the world. That's what I think. Do you? Really? In any case, as this testimony shows, even if the notice board was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only person at the scene. In short, the only person who could possibly have committed this crime is Barak von Zeeks. None of this wrangling over the board changes that simple fact. Quite so, quite so. Does the defense still wish to cross-examine the witnesses despite the circumstances? Most certainly, my lord. Very well, then you may proceed, counsel. Here we go. I don't know anything about that there notice board. To wipe my hands on it, that's all.
Hold it!
So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on? Admit it? What's to admit? It's there plain as day for all to see. A smashing print on my right hand. Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint, so you righted the notice board and pushed it into the corner, did you? No. Imagine the weight of that great lump. Do I look like a powerless and well-nurtured man? Well, did you see anybody else moving the board? I've got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor in front of me, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. The bottom lip was all a quiver. In other words, this witness is unable to give definite testimony on that point. Yes, so it would seem. Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was just doing business with them second years at the time.
Hold it!
Is selling fireworks to second years a bad idea, guys? Even if it's like baby fireworks? I think that's kind of bad. When you say you were selling business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks. Yeah, what else? There's the Priory School just around the corner, see? Aren't they like second graders? Second graders. Could be second years in high school for all we know. Let's see. Those cheeky little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow their school to Kingdom Come. Maybe second grade then? So I've been telling on them, letting their teachers know what they're up to. Oh, you have? Yeah, I don't want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off them. And then, praise the Lord again, the kids all come back to me to buy more. Everyone's happy, see? What a racket. Of course, and sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus to thank for letting me know them. It's a busy old life selling explosives. This is a guileful goddess indeed. Well, tell the barefaced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm ever so good at it. Should we be concerned with the school guys and the kids and her?
Excuse me.
Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich? If I said it was, could we just leave it at that? Would that be the end of it? No. Did Miss Venus's statement just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Philosophical thoughts, thoughts. Let's say there was a great liar, and the great liar said, without batting an eye, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Would those words of hers be a lie too, or the truth? In which case, she's not a liar. Oh, it's a hellish paradox, that one, don't you think? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but it seems to me you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying. Are you? What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are you? Keep on like that, and I'll wrap your whole body in firecrackers and set them off. Then I'll give you something to tremble about. You have a startling, disturbing mind behind that sweet and innocent face, young lady. So, Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich? Well, if it means I'll be burning in hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Can you elaborate, please, sir? Old but blabbermouth, they are headed for the room where the gunshot seemed to come from, but there was someone else who crept up to the stairs, but behind him, too. That's right. That rotten liar over there. Heh heh. Do you mean to say that you did in fact betake yourself to the scene of the crime after all? What did I tell you, eh? I said I was good at telling barefaced lies, didn't I? Yes, you mentioned it. Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? New firecrackers packed such a punch. So you did indeed visit the scene of the crime, did you, young lady? Good grief! Well, now you come to mention it, I suppose perhaps. I do clearly remember climbing these stairs to the room, yeah? Either you clearly remember or you don't. Well, I shall consider it a fitting punishment for this perjurious act later. For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony to reflect the truth. Oh yes, my lord, of course. Oh, she's already cooked. Maybe I did sneak along behind, gossip, and have a little peek into the room where it all happened.
Hold it!
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus? Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I take everything I say with a big pinch of salt. Alright, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you? Oh, please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying. The truth, please. Well, alright, just a bit then. I mean, a girl my age is curious about stuff, you know? Did you touch anything at the scene? Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor. The truth, please. Well, alright, just a bit then. I had a look to see if there was anything I could sell. So I did give the place a once-over, but it was nothing to write home about. I forgot something. I got this, right? Let's examine these. Have you had an idea, Mr. Naruhodo? You're staring at the end of a string of fireworks. Sorry, it's just that the Venus special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like. Shall we find out? What? But, she said it could blow up the courtroom. Bang! Alright, that was a fairly sizable bang. My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruhodo. That sounded almost exactly like... Oh. Gunshot. Okay. Wonder what the biggest firework is now. Right, now I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you? Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loose change is all I had. The truth, please. Well, alright then. I thought there might be something worth having underneath it. So I blasted the flippin' thing. Sorry, flipped the blasted thing. You're telling us that you did move the board? I think that did slip out, didn't it? What? You daft barn bot! I don't believe it. The girl doesn't think. So, do you find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps? To sell? Oh, please. I should be so lucky in my imagination. The truth now. I might have found this old pocket watch under the notice board, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can't be worth much, if you ask. Ah! Oh, so it was you, was it? You're the one who took it. Gina? Young lady, may I remind you where you are? That watch there. That was a present to Inspector Gregson from the yard for a big case he solved 10 years ago. The professor case, no doubt. The boss used it to wind up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. I see. I swiped it off him once, and blimey, we was upset. He gave me a right earful. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 7 years of polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. Possibly not the best thing to go diving for, then. It's not all that, though. I took it to Jeb Bees' that night to ask how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it. Said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it. Ah, I knew I shouldn't have lifted it. That watch must be submitted as evidence at once. Oh, please, just so long as you promise to give it back when we're done. Not a chance. I'll swipe it from you if you try to get your grubby mitts on it again. That's enough. Hand the watch to the bailiff forthwith. Now, children, watch your manners. Good Lord! The glass appears to be broken. More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot. It doesn't tick anymore either. Which is why Jabez didn't want it. What a waste, eh? Yes, indeed, it appears to have stopped at the hour of 5. Exactly when the gunshot was heard then. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. Unless someone manipulated it to be at 5. Well, it would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board has been solved at last. And as predicted, it had very little bearing on the case. Now then, continue with your cross-examination, please, counsel. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. I'm just a sign at the crossroads of life. Might as well check this, too. The glass over the face is really badly cracked. Look, what a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. Imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you? Yes, I should think so. He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around, in fact. But kindly remember that he's a great detective, Mr. Naruhodo, not an odd-job man. Doesn't look like... Never mind. There's a tiny little stub sticking out from this small hole here. Look! Suppose there must have been a little knob or something on that for setting the time. In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such good care of his watch, it probably broke when the incident occurred, didn't it? Yes, of course. Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch still at the scene. Maybe. Ah, there's a tiny little keyhole here. Can you see? Oh yes, that's probably for the winder used to wind up the mechanism. Looks a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you'd think you'd just the right key to wind it, I imagine. Why do I feel as though I've seen something? Something a bit like a key that's about right the size to fit in this hole. It would be wonderful if we had the key. Let's check carefully over what we've already found. Yeah, it's, this. See if we can do this. Mr. Sato, do you think perhaps this key could be the key for Inspector Gregson's watch? Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a moment to lose. Don't worry, Court. This is important. I knew it. A perfect fit. And look, the inspector's watch has started going again. Ah, so it has obviously not been wound up, that's all. What is it, Mr. Sato? Well, if the watch isn't actually broken after all, I have a feeling that it could have profound implications. She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I'd better start thinking deeply too. Well, that's something, guys. I know, interesting.
Hold it!
What will it reveal? But you did go to see what had happened in the room, didn't you? Fresh snow street is my whole world is all I know, and I know all of it. Fresh snow street. Like fresh snow? Snow on the ground? I have to make it my business to know if I want to hold my sign up high. So you did go to see what had happened. It's not the destination that's important, it's how you get there, isn't it? Did you notice the notice board in the room? If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the sign family. So if I'd been spotted it, I might have tried to trip it up out of sense of rivalry, I admit. Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens, not Homo simians. Does that mean that you didn't notice the board? I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign of the crossroads of life. In which case, just who was the responsible for moving the notice board? It was the Reaper, I bet. Got a face that screams bored. Can I go back a bit? Sneak behind. Alright, none of them mentioned the watch. It was a Reaper, I bet. Reaper. What exactly do you mean by that? Oh, come on now. Don't tell us you've not noticed. Looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. But not notice boards. They're the one thing he likes. You can see it in his eyes. I can't say I've ever noticed. I'll tell you one thing for free, though. I never took my eyes off that man on the floor, or off the Reaper, not for a second. Sorry? Well, I was that scared, I couldn't. You never know what a friendly fiend like that might do if you look away, do you? You didn't take your eyes off the defendant. You should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board. If you're looking for the next hit, it's statement 5. Okay. After that, the Reaper did nothing of the sort. I can swear to that. I couldn't have missed it. If he'd have the thing upright again and jerked it to the corner. Right. Glad we cleared that up. What happened to the face that screams bored? I feel like you're paying, Kazuma. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot. It's one or two different things, guys. A gunshot, but this made a gunshot noise.
Objection!
Okay, that's great. I'll do my other idea. The watch.
Objection!
Okay, cool. Wrong order. Wrong order. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Oh. At the scene, We found this key to the winder at the inspector's pocket watch. A key? And having wound that pocket watch, we discovered that it is in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it wasn't broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What? Order, order, order! But, counsel, the watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock. Yeah, which is just when we heard that gunshot. It is exactly the hour. The time that was showing on the watch tells us nothing, other than when it wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that obviously when the crime was committed.
Objection!
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said only moments ago. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. The victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well. Yes, that would be entirely reasonable. But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound up down by 5 o'clock the following day. Oh, well, how do you explain that? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident where the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean... What would stop a man from winding his watch even if he's been in the habit of winding it every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead. Well... Order, order! Counsel, that is a most extraordinary claim.
Objection!
Extraordinary isn't the word, it's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before? Do you really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right. Wait a minute. You're forgetting that my legs went from under me when I kicked the door in? What do you mean? Like I said, I planted my hand into a dirty great puddle of blood. Yes. So the victim's blood hadn't dried, it was fresh. He catches on fast, doesn't he?
Objection!
But the blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over
Objection!
Does my learned friend think that fresh blood is available on every street corner? Well, it needn't necessarily have been a human blood, of course. We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human. The problem is currently being researched. At present, you are correct, it is beyond our abilities. So then, a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that it wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection!
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it, though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all. Oh, please, what are you trying to say? Us lot know what we heard, and it was loud bang that came from that there room. Now you listen to me, a street seller's ears are his livelihood. I don't doubt your ears, sir, but all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise. Nah. Explain yourself then, counsel. A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with... Just in case it's wrong for some weird reason. The hair. No? Okay. This.
Take that!
Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot. Goodness gracious, the very fireworks that are sold by the witness? Now hold on a minute, are you saying I did it? My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway, see? Not 100 of them together. The Venus special that you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. Bang! Yep, I knew it. I knew this one indeed. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. You're trying to suggest that somebody set one of those fireworks off at the scene? I'm suggesting that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day, and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for these peddlers on Fresh Nose Street to hear.
Objection!
But even the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at the time. Whether it was a gun or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Barak von Zeeks. One whiff of a match and my firecrackers go pop! See? It's why people like them. I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Objection!
Recently during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called a time bomb. Good heavens, a bomb? Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like. Mr. Naruhodo, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may lead to yet another international incident. Ah, no, wait, it's the whatever you like part that's important. A time device? Yes, exactly. A time device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot long after the culprit had left. Your extravagant claim will have to be substantiated with evidence, counsel. What proof do you have to suggest in any way that a time device was employed to create a gunshot sound? This, I have no idea. I have not gotten a single thing that even looks like a time device. So, first, second, or third, guys? First group of items, second, or this, I guess. No idea. Well, we're dealing with firecrackers here. How do you set those off? Matches? Yet I don't have a single match on me. More firecrackers? No, I have no idea. Another hint. First row, second row, or third row? No matches, but you have something else that sets a flame? These, but weren't these out though? Is it this, Captain Chips? I don't know how it's this, but is it this? Yeah, they were out when you picked them up. I'll just let the game explain why the heck it's this in the first place. As the court that has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in this candelabrum has been blown off. Also, how would candles that are way up on a wall set up a firecracker? Unless it was stuck there. The firecrackers were stuck on the wall at the time. Indeed, because it was struck by the bullet, which presumably passed through the victim. I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible? Why? Because of the scorching. There are gunpowder, scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle. Overthinking this a bit? Oh, I know, probably. Or underthinking it, or anything that's not the right answer, thinking it. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle. There are? Goodness, yes. But is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound? That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun. Which means that the scorching on the candle can't possibly be the result of a gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks? How can this be, eh? The fact that there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it another way, the candle and the firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at the point of part way down the candle. After the killer had left the scene... Yeah, there's no way I could have guessed this in a million years. Overthinking. Oh, candles could be used to set up firecrackers. Wouldn't they just fall, though, to the ground if the fire reached that far? I don't know. I would need to learn about candles and how they burn and stuff. And I don't know how, I guess. Until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud bang. And that is how these three witnesses came to believe they heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock. Well, what a plot! And this implies that the victim could have died earlier than we've been led to believe, the previous day even. Now, just hold your horses. All of us here saw the victim going into the building, remember? I couldn't forget that flame-colored hair even if I wanted to. The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this. Obviously, anybody can wear a wig. So the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred, just go with it, one of the more reasonable ones the series has come up with. More reasonable ones. Could easily have been someone else entirely, wearing the red hairpiece. Someone else? Do you mean to say? It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Oh, very impressive, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of time of death in this report, a stack omission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired. Order! Prosecutor Asogi, what on earth do you mean by that statement? I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today, so we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture, but while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it. Well, certainly, I would agree with you. And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard. Even within the Yard? However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing, wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree. Surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death. Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case has been investigated by the inspector prior to the incident? I think I know, I just gotta figure out which thing says it. This.
Take that!
It's like my mom said, never trust a redhead. She never actually said that. I believe this red hairpiece points to the answer. We might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation. Surely not. Such a brightly colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable. Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd, except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? So, you'd already worked it out. What on earth is this all about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen? The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception. A deception of what nature, Counsel? They've been targeting red-headed men across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once. The 2 redheads? Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece, but it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events. I concur that we cannot in good conscience leave this new avenue unexplored. Well done, Mr. Nooooo. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us at least. Prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charged men to appear. Bring these 2 Red-Headed League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Asogi. At once, my lord. Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned. Alright. Progress going good. I says. Maybe going good. Alright. Trial part 1 still. Oh, there you are, Odo. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, you know, actually died that day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I, perhaps more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes, but I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in the mind of the last case we worked on and Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zieks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes, who were taken in by their trick? No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth hound and interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masks on the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The 2 criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Snooze, and it was me what took 'em in. Thanks to the tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Or would the Inspector have been investigating them? Well, its likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zieks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zieks, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrived at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over quite shortly. Yes, you're right. Cosimo was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial, and he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Are you ready then, Miss Susato? Yes. Yes. And here we are again. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Barak von Zeeks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi, my lord, have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, the 2 members of the Red-Headed League were planned and carried out in the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by state police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, usher the 2 men into the courtroom. There they are. Oh, that looks tasty. These 2 men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabien de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Romuno family from Nice in France. And my name is Peppino di Rossi. I am the 3rd son of the great Familia di Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. The 2 men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temisc are the future leaders of Europe. But do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Alors, I make it my mission to get the better of the world by exploring the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do. So that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? Oi, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideals, but the petty plans. The strange combination is the charm of the Hilarious brothers. Hilarious. Wow. See, Capo? Listen to me, Peppino. I have 2 things to say to you. Che, are you about to tell me one of your grandi anecdotes? Evviva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this Capo. And secondly, we are not the Hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Chi bello, there it is, the Capo's trump card, the furrowed brow. It is deep, Capo, the furrow, and the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oi, Seska. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud? Alors, I will explain it. No, Capo, leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair. No, at school we were teased for this without pity. The Capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse crying like the Tevi fountain. Where's those dogs? One day the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep for the... Seize bien, Peppino. Enough. I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League. Oi, says Ka, I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the League is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the League, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On that day specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified for the advertisement, and from each person present this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France, it was a plan most elegant, non? No, it was the most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned that anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The spark was described as by one witness as choked with red-headed folk, like a soster's orange barrow. And the day on which all of these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oi, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See, and now every time I see the couples there I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? And with that sorry guys, I'm gonna call the stream here. Oh man, what a crazy stuff going on. I can't believe Gregson's dead. That's so unfortunate. But yeah, we'll call it here and we'll pick it up in 2 days. So thanks for coming guys. I'll see all of you very soon. Be well and have a good night. Bye!